Dennis coming to you from the Cincinnati Razorback Room, the heart of beautiful downtown Siloam Springs, Arkansas. Early in September, pennant races are heating up, and I am going to personally address this video to those people at MLB Now who are so down on the stat of pitcher wins. And I'm going to start talking about correlations, okay? So I go through MLB Reference. Brian Kenny, you need to listen, man, because this is going to hit home to you, and I think you might just get a new insight. Probably won't change your mind because you're more stubborn than I am, but it might just change a little bit about the way you think about the WIN statistic. If you will look back through history, dating all the way back to the beginning of modern day records, which is 1901, and look at the wins compared to three stats. Number one, games started. Number two, WHIP. And number three, ERA. You will find that the people who are in the top in the top 10, 5 of those people in each stat will appear in almost every year, will appear in every stat. Okay? So having a top 10 whip pretty much guarantees you will be in the top 10 in wins, ERA, and games started. Why? You're not going to get to start if you don't have a great whip. You're not going to get to start if you don't have a great ERA. You're not going to get to start if you don't win. So go back to the WIN statistic. What does this mean? Let's dwell into this a little bit more. A win is designated and defined by having whoever pitches the 5th inning with their team ahead, remaining ahead, gets a victory or a win. Crucial numbers. 300 wins was the measure. Today, pitchers don't start 40 games, they start 32. And that's a good number to start, 32. So you're not going to get 20 to 30 wins a year like they did in the old days. However, today pitchers with 17 wins are constantly in the top 10 of whip, ERA, and games started. 20 years ago, in the early 90s, late 90s, pitchers with 20 wins were constantly in top 10 in whip, ERA, and games started. You go back to some great pitchers. Koufax, during his 5-year run, leads the league in whip 4 times, leads the league in ERA 4 times, leads the league in wins 4 times, playing for a team that if you don't hold the team to under 3 runs, you're going to lose. Not playing for a great team. Now I know Brian, one thing that Brian Kenny's going to say about this is great teams determine winning pitchers. So I looked on that. These pitchers who win these games, the pitchers that win these games are almost always on winning teams, with exceptions. The biggest exception, of course, is Carlton in 72. That's a freak, okay? That's a freak season. He wins 27, leads the league in everything. That's a freak season. But you have to relate to this. Do the pitchers make the team better, or did the team make the pitcher better? Okay? Why is it that on the winning teams of the Dodgers during the 60s, Drysdale and Koufax are constantly in the top 10 in wins, whip, ERA, and games started? Yet Osteen and Miller, they're not. Okay, these guys are better than they are. I get it, yes. But did the team make Koufax win the game? Koufax is winning these games 3-1. Koufax is winning these games. He's pitching a 174 ERA, 275 lifetime. And you take out his first 4 seasons, Koufax is winning games. Drysdale's winning games 4-2. You think about this, the team's not making these guys better. These guys are making the team better by holding it down. Now, let's go into today's game. Max Scherzer. Scherzer's going to be in the top 10 in every category. Whip, ERA, games won, and games started. he's going to be in the top 10 in those categories. All the time, every year. Clayton Kershaw, most of the time until he gets hurt. Chris Sale, almost all the time in those top categories. Used to be Wainwright, Chris Carpenter. All these pitchers are top 10 in all the categories. So wins correlates directly to the performance that this guy gives. If you're winning games, let's just go back to the mid-70s and give you an obscure pitcher who only a few people will remember, Jack Billingham. Jack Billingham is going to be top 10 in wins during the Cincinnati Reds Big Red Machine run, but he's going to have a 4-point earned run average. Now we've got an exception to the rule, okay? He's not going to be top 10. He's going to be top 10 in games started. He's going to be top 10 in wins, not in WHIP and not in ERA. So it's not correlating. But take other pitchers during that 70s era, and they're going to fit right in. Take today, Justin Verlander. Verlander's stats read across the board. Top 10, top 10, top 10, top 10, top 10. Always. And you have to say that if you finish in the top 10 in 4 categories, you're an amazing pitcher. Wins, ERA, WHIP, and games started. That's the stats that I'm looking at, and they correlate with each other. Let's get down and break it down to the one stat that you and I, Brian, we totally disagree on this stat. To me, wins is an indicator of greatness of a pitcher. If a pitcher is winning games, that means he is beating the other pitcher's performance on a given day. Oh, well, my lineup's better than his. Not necessarily. You're going to tell me that during the 1960s, Sandy Koufax's lineup with Wills, Gilliam, Davis, Howard, Lefevre is better than Mays, Hart, McCovey, Cepeda, Lanier, Jim. No, not even close. And yet the Dodgers are dominating the Giants. You're going to tell me that Juan Marichal is not an equivalent to Don Drysdale or Sandy Koufax? They're the same guy. Marichal can't beat the Dodgers because when he pitches, Koufax gets the win. Juan Marichal's another one of those guys that never won a Cy Young Award that's in the Hall of Fame. Amazing pitcher. Winning a Cy Young, that's another video, Brian. Winning a Cy Young doesn't necessarily mean you're a great Hall of Fame pitcher. Juan Marichal never won the Cy Young. Should have, but didn't. Wins is crucial to a pitcher's greatness. If a pitcher has these great numbers and is a 500 pitcher, that means that he has these bad days or can't win every other game. I'm not sold on that pitcher. A pitcher that goes out there, and I'm going to go right back to Jack Billingham. He was the perfect pitcher for the Big Red Machine during the 70s. He's going to give up 4 runs a game. The Reds were scoring 4.5. The Big Red Machine didn't win games 18-3 like people think. No, the Big Red Machine won the 1-run games because Sparky knew how to play. Billingham wins games for that team. I gotcha. The exception to the rule. However, he wins. He's beating the other pitcher, but yeah, he's got a Hall of Fame lineup. But go back again to that 60s. Go back to the Giants, Dodgers. Go back to the Cardinals, Dodgers. Go back to the Reds, Dodgers during that 60s when you're looking at the Frank Robinsons, Vada Pinsons, the teams, they all have better offenses than the Dodgers. What's making those Dodgers teams win? Go into the 90s, into the early 90s before Chipper Jones comes around, and you've got Maddox, Smoltz, and Glavine, all top 10 in wins almost every year, Maddox especially. They don't have any hitting. In fact, they were called the hitless wonders during the time that they were winning and going into these World Series in the early 90s. Worst to first with no lineup whatsoever. They didn't have any hitting, and yet they were winning, and these pitchers were winning top 10 number of wins. Was that the great Atlanta team? No, it was the great Atlanta pitchers, not the great Atlanta team. They didn't have a closer. Come on, Mark Wohlers, who's he? Where did he come from? They didn't even have a closer. They didn't have Mariano anchoring that pen and guaranteeing the win. Wins that a pitcher gets means that that pitcher beat the other pitcher and he's better that day. So I rest my case on wins being a crucial statistic. I think that it is a measure, in today's game especially, a win for a pitcher is huge. Pitcher that goes 5 innings and gets an ahead exit is a great pitcher in today's game. Even if it's a 6-5 exit, he's better than the guy going before him, that he's facing. Most pitchers today aren't even pitching 5 innings, but the great ones are. The great ones are winning games. Max Scherzer, Clayton Kershaw, Chris Sale, all winning games. Justin Verlander, Keuchel, all these guys are winning games. They're also in top 10 in WHIP. They're also in top 10 in ERA, and they're also top 10 in games started. Direct correlation. Wins dictates the other stats are going to be great. If I'm a winning pitcher, my other stats are going to be great almost every time. Biggest exception, I tell you, Jack Billingham wasn't. The rest of them, though, look throughout. Go to MLB Reference and hit those buttons that say top 10 year by year, and you'll be amazed how often that the top 10 winning pitchers are the same as the top 10 ERA, the same as the top 10 WHIP, and the same as the top 10 games started. An amazing correlation. And that's for you, Brian Kenny. Now, next time on Wheels and Diamonds, we're going to get into a different topic about baseball. Check me out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. Like us on Facebook at Wheels and Diamonds and my Dennis Collier page. And check out the website at www.wheelsanddiamonds.com.